Good morning, everyone. Today, we delve into the story of a man whose vision profoundly reshaped society and the economy, Henry Ford. We'll explore his failures, innovations, and ultimately, the birth of the modern economy, analyzing the economic cycle known as Fordism. This slide doc examines the lasting impact of Henry Ford, truly the man who invented the middle class. Henry Ford famously said, "Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently." This quote encapsulates his early journey. Before the monumental success of the Ford Motor Company, he experienced significant setbacks. His first venture, the Detroit Automobile Company, dissolved, and he resigned from the Henry Ford Company. It wasn't until the age of 40, with the incorporation of the Ford Motor Company, that he achieved the success we associate with his name. His persistence through these early failures was critical to his later innovations. Ford's genius lay in rejecting the prevailing notion of the automobile as a luxury toy. His ambition was to create utility for the multitude. He designed the Model T for the great multitude, simple, durable, and easily repairable. Notably, it featured left-hand steering, a design choice that eventually standardized the entire industry. The Model T's impact on democratizing speed was immediate. Priced at $825 in 1908, it became significantly more affordable, dropping to just $360 by 1916. This affordability meant that by 1918, an astonishing 50% of all cars in the U.S. were Model Ts, making personal transportation accessible to the average family. This widespread accessibility was only possible through a revolutionary change in manufacturing. Ford's rope experiment was a pivotal moment, inspired by the sudden insight to move the work to the worker. He tested a system where an employee pulled a chassis on a rope while others added parts. The results were staggering. Static assembly took 12.5 hours, but this moving assembly line slashed that to just 93 minutes. This continuous flow allowed production to skyrocket from 19,000 cars in 1910 to an impressive 78,000 cars by 1912. This innovation was a game-changer for industrial efficiency. However, this new machine-like efficiency came with a significant human cost, leading to what we call the crisis of efficiency. While the machines worked flawlessly, the human element began to break down. The assembly line de-skilled labor, transforming craftsmanship into monotonous, repetitive tasks. Workers became bored, unreliable, and frequently quit. Ford faced an astounding 370% labor turnover rate. He soon realized a cold business fact: true efficiency demanded a stable workforce. The cost of constantly training replacements was simply too expensive to sustain the pace of production. This realization led to a radical decision on January 5, 1914, which sent shockwaves through the industrial world. Ford announced a revolutionary deal of $5 a day wage, double the previous $2.34, and an 8-hour workday, reduced from 9. The reaction was immediate and dramatic. Thousands rioted at the Highland Park gates, desperate for these unprecedented jobs. While the Wall Street Journal initially disapproved, Ford had inadvertently, or perhaps intentionally, created a new class of worker consumers. This bold move fundamentally altered labor relations and consumer power in America. But there were strings attached to this groundbreaking $5 day, managed by what Ford called his sociological department. The $5 wasn't a flat wage, it was a base wage of $2.34 plus a profit-sharing bonus of $2.66. To qualify for this bonus, inspectors from the department visited workers' homes to ensure they were living properly. This included conditions like not physically abusing their family, keeping their home clean, not taking in boarders, contributing to a savings account, and abstaining from alcohol. This approach highlights the complex paternalistic, and at times invasive, side of Ford's social engineering. This interconnected system of production and consumption became known as Fordism, the economic loop. It posited that mass production leads to lower unit costs. These lower costs, combined with higher wages for workers, fueled mass consumption. As one analyst put it, industrial workers had to rise to the middle class in order for the economy to run on all cylinders. Ford understood that his workers were also his potential customers. This circular economy model became a hallmark of 20th-century capitalism, driving unprecedented growth and the expansion of the middle class. While Fordism propelled economic growth, it also laid the groundwork for future challenges, notably, the rise of the Rust Belt. Ford's concentration of industrial power built iconic cities like Detroit, Lowell, and Moline. However, the system was rigid. The relentless focus on a single, standardized product, like the Model T, ultimately left the industry vulnerable to changing market demands. The legacy of this rigidity became evident in the deindustrialization of these motor cities, displacing the very middle class that Ford had helped to build. This illustrates a crucial investment lesson: over specialization, even when initially successful, can lead to fragility. The Fordist model, dominant from the 1910s to the 1970s, focused on mass production of standardized goods, unionized national labor, and vertical integration. Its supply chain was, just in case, relying on large inventories. However, starting in the 1980s, we shifted to post-Fordism, characterized by flexible specialization, small batch production, global outsourcing, and strategic alliances. This era embraced a just-in-time supply chain, minimizing inventory. This modern flexibility, while efficient, often sacrifices the stability and high local wages that were defining features of the Fordist era, demonstrating a trade-off between efficiency and social welfare that continues to impact economies and investment decisions today. Ford's utilitarian philosophy sharply contrasted with the evolving market. Ford refused to update the Model T until sales finally collapsed, believing in utility over novelty. His competitors, notably General Motors, pioneered planned obsolescence. GM introduced yearly models, new colors, and credit options, strategically signaling status and creating a constant desire for the new. In essence, the advertising industry gradually replaced the assembly line as the primary engine of consumer desire, fundamentally changing how products were designed, marketed, and consumed. Henry Ford's legacy is truly a double-edged sword, and we still live very much in the shadow of his machine. He proved that leisure time, epitomized by the 40-hour workweek, is not lost time, but essential consumption time, a key driver for the economy. His innovations laid the foundation for modern industrial practices and the creation of a vast middle class. As Ford himself said, that man is best educated who can do the greatest number of things to help and heal the world. His impact on industry, labor, and society remains a profound lesson in how business innovation can shape, and sometimes reshape, the very fabric of our lives.